What does it mean to face your old self in order for you to meet your new self? Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in line, which means it is not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For this video, we're going to go over and discuss what it means to face our old self so therefore we can meet our new selves, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and just certain things that you should be aware of. So starting off the disclaimer, starting off the introduction. In order for you to become your new self, in order for you to step into the highest and greatest version of yourself, you have to let go of any versions of you, any mindsets, any behaviors, any thoughts, or any emotions that no longer resonate with you. And I know it sounds like common sense, but if common sense was common, everybody would think the same, and that's okay if you don't. You have to understand that you went through certain chapters and there were certain lessons that you had to learn from in your past in order for you to be where you are right now in the present, in order for you to create your future. And until you're able to accept what you've lost, what you've gained, what you've learned, what you've had to separate yourself from, until you're able to let go of the attachment, any pain, emotions, finances, any mindsets, you will continue to stay in your past. And with you staying in your past, you will continue to resurface old thoughts, old memories, old mindsets, and parts of you that you need to move forward from. And the only reason why it is so difficult for people sometimes to even change is simply because you have not faced yourself. So the second disclaimer is knowing that it doesn't have to be scary. So many people are afraid of themselves. And I know what you're thinking. How could people be afraid of themselves? Subconsciously and psychologically, a lot of people have been conditioned to abuse and suffering and struggling. And if this is you, you know what that's like. When you're constantly having to feel the need to jump through hurdles or overextend yourself or overexert yourself or be a people pleaser or not speak up for yourself or not suppress how you feel, a lot of times your identity is unsure and uncertain. And when you are unsure and uncertain of yourself, a lot of times you end up becoming afraid. And a lot of times you have to understand, if you didn't grow up in environments where you were able to be your physical self, your true self, you weren't able to invest in yourself, rather you didn't have like the finances or the resources or the educations, automatically you're limiting yourself. Automatically you shrink yourself. And when you shrink yourself and you limit yourself, you doubt yourself. You have insecurities. This is where envy comes from. And over time, instead of you taking the time to realize that you're triggered or you feel overwhelmed, you end up taking that energy out onto people and places and things who've done nothing to you. This is why it's so important to learn from the people who have come into your life, whether they intentionally hurt you or not. Rather, you learn from the experiences where you had to let go of certain people, places, and things because there was a purpose within it. A lot of people are afraid to become the best version of themselves and to face their new selves because it requires them to speak on the uncomfortable truths. It requires them to talk about subjects that they try to dismiss. Rather, it's simply because, once again, they were never given the safe place, you were never given opportunity, or simply because you have abandonment. You feel neglected. You felt embarrassed or ashamed. So the third disclaimer is knowing that when you decide to face yourself, you're going to go through a fluctuation of emotions. There's no way you're not going to emotionally, psychologically, or subconsciously not feel affected when you have gone through a significant amount of trials and tribulations or trauma, whether it was long-term or short-term. So whether you grew up in poverty, whether you were bullied, whether you were touched on, whether you came from a narcissistic background, whether you grew up in dysfunctional environments, rather you were somebody who maybe were not like physically in shape, maybe people made fun of you, whatever it was, you're going to feel some type of way. Like if you grew up, let's just say, in a very strict household, you learning to detach any mindsets and any behaviors that no longer resonate with you can make you feel some type of way. You separating yourself from people you were once familiar with. If you grew up in poverty and now all of a sudden you want to become wealthy and financially abundant, you removing yourself from people who are used to living paycheck to paycheck, it can emotionally make you feel some type of way because that's all you knew. But just because this is once were familiar to you doesn't mean that that's all there is to life. So the fourth disclaimer is learning how to be open-minded. What has helped me along my healing journey, and what I recommend to you watching this, is learning to be open-minded. Like, you're going to lose things in life. You're going to lose relationships, you're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose materials, you may lose people. That's how the world works. Like, nothing is going to be set in stone physically forever. So it's really important to appreciate certain seasons when you're in them, to appreciate certain chapters when you're going through them, to learn the lessons from people and places and things. So therefore, you're not holding on to baggage that's not meant to be where you currently are right now. And that's the reason why it's so challenging and honestly so difficult for people to be the best version of themselves and take that next step, because you're stuck. You feel stuck. You're stuck between your past, and you're stuck between who you know you're wanting to be and who you're meant to be. So lastly, before I get into the recommendations, it's really important that when you are letting go, that you do it when you feel 100% invested into it. You cannot force yourself to a new chapter of yourself or new season of yourself until you are 100% okay with letting go of certain mindsets and certain behaviors and certain thought process and emotions. And learning to do this is going to take time. So make sure you guys are staying tuned, liking, commenting, engaging, because the next couple of videos that we talk about are going to be about that. So when it comes to the first recommendation of you facing yourself, you have to look at yourself physically in the mirror and decide that enough is enough. Like, you don't physically have to look at yourself in the mirror, but I do recommend, like, for those of you who understand mirror work, clock it, get into it. But if you don't, you have to really just put your right hand over your heart. And this is why I said the mirror. Like, you have to decide, put your hands up and surrender and say, you know what, I'm done. Whether it's to your higher self, or for those of you who are like into religion or spirituality, the gods, the ancestors, the universe. Say what resonates, leave the rest, because I'm not here to force that upon you. But you have to decide, you know what, enough is enough. And I'm speaking it from experience. What has helped me along my healing journey to become the greatest and the newest version of myself was to realize that who I used to be, what I used to do, it wasn't cutting it. The things that I want to experience, the things that I'm meant to experience, I'm not able to do until I let go of. And learning to let go, if you don't have like community or support, or you feel like you are never worthy because maybe you were never aware of how powerful and how beautiful you are, is going to take a lot of energy and effort. Like, it's not going to be something that maybe, what's the word? Simple, until you realize how necessary it is. So, because I personally don't like the words hard, difficult, and challenging. I feel like anytime someone says something's going to be hard, difficult, and challenging, why do it? Things never have to be hard, difficult, and challenging if you're able to realize what is necessary. So if you, let's just say, want to heal yourself from dealing with narcissists and toxic people, and in your past you were a people pleaser, or maybe you were nonverbal, or maybe you weren't defensive, or maybe you weren't confrontational, you have to accept the fact that people did talk about you. You have to accept the fact that people were manipulators. You have to accept the fact that you were being gaslit. It's only quote unquote uncomfortable because you have allowed it to go on for so long. Rather you wanted it to, or simply because every time you spoke up, people wanted to act like they didn't say and do the things that they did. And I'm gonna hold your hand, and I personally am gonna apologize to you, but you have to apologize to yourself, because it's not fair to you. And that's another thing that I personally recommend, what has helped me along my healing journey. When I decided that enough was enough and I did not deserve the abuse or the trials and tribulations from other people, when I know I didn't go out my way to hurt and harm them intentionally, I said I wasn't going to continue to hold on to other people's projections and deflections, because honestly, it was never about you. A lot of times when people try to come into your life and humble you and hurt you and sabotage you, it's more so about them. And logically, I don't think it makes any sense for you for us to hold on to people and places' baggage when we did nothing to them. But you are going to have to be honest and decide you cannot continue to do certain things because it's not helping you. Now, if you learn certain lessons from your past and it's helping you, whoop-de-doo, kudos to you, continue to do it. But if it's not, it's in the way. So the second recommendation, once you decide enough is enough and that you're surrendering, is knowing that you are going to feel angry. You are going to feel emotional. You are going to go through all fluctuations of emotions, which is similar to the disclaimers. You're going to go through withdrawals. When you finally have the audacity and the courage and the strength to speak up for yourself and talk about what has happened to you, you have to understand that you may receive backlash. A lot of people who are abusers and predators and narcissists and people who never change don't like to acknowledge the wrongs that they did. Will sit here and act as if they didn't do what they did. Like, I've recently, not too long ago, had certain people who went out their way to hurt and harm me try to message me or speak to me as if nothing didn't happen, because some time has went by or some years went by, and it's just like the audacity. It's so demeaning. You're so grotty. You're so scuzzy. It's so degrading. Like, you don't deserve to be around people like that. So you are going to feel angry. You are going to be upset. You have to be able to accept that. Why? Because if you weren't taught and shown how to defend yourself, or if you didn't realize people were trying to pick on you or do things towards you, or you're just living life and people were making things harder for you, or you just were somebody who's always struggling and it was out of your control, why wouldn't you feel any type of way? You're a human being. Your feelings are valid. Nobody deserves to struggle and suffer, but people do, because you don't have people who are willing to speak about it. So that leads us into the fourth recommendation. Stop being afraid. You cannot be afraid of yourself and love yourself at the same time. Like, and I'm speaking from experience. The more and more I started to be empathetic and sympathetic and compassionate towards myself and stop being so hard on myself, I realized, look what you've gone through. Why should you be embarrassed or ashamed about the struggles and trials and tribulations you went through when you're the one who went through them, and nobody knows how you genuinely feel? Like, well, Lord, nobody on this earth could ever make me feel bad about what I look like in any chapter or any era of my life, whether I was the wealthiest, the brokest, the skinniest, the slimmest ever. You know why? Because I know what I dealt with. I know how I felt, and nobody was there. Nobody was there. Nobody cared. And that's why I'm telling you, you have to care about yourself if nobody's going to be there for you. And when you have people who genuinely care about you, appreciate them. This is why I tell you guys to just like, comment, engage. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know what resonates with you. So therefore, yeah, like, because everyone's not out to get you. There are some people in this world like myself who carry themselves like such, and energy speaks for itself, okay? And then you have people who don't. Once you realize somebody's character, somebody's energy, somebody's vibe isn't with yours, leave it alone. You don't need to speak down, and you don't even need to address it. So lastly, when it comes to the recommendations when facing yourself, you have to understand that when certain people and places and things start to become hostile, or it starts to become tension, or it starts to animosity, when you start peeping the vibes, when your body starts to warn you, you have to stop ignoring it. You have to stop making excuses. Like, once you take off those rose-colored glasses, or once you put on your rose-colored glasses, you're not going to be able to look at people the same. You're not even going to look at life the same. And the beauty about facing yourself is knowing how much you were able to endure and the fruits of your labor. A lot of people never get to see the fruit of the labor because they've endured so much that they felt like it was purposeless. And it's like, you have to see it all the way through. That's the only way you're going to be the person who you want to be. Yes, you're going to have days where you're tired. Nobody's saying that you have to work yourself out and be a workaholic. Yes, you're going to have days where you're going to have fun. Nobody's saying that you can't celebrate and turn up and have, you know, excitement. But you need to know, if you want certain things in life, if you want to do certain things, there's a time and a place for you to do it. So I'm going to end off the video with that. Whatever questions, like I said, let me know what resonate with you. What have you been doing to let go of your past? Are you going to continue to make excuses, or are you tired of doing the same thing like it's 2026? Or let me know when you're watching this, as well as following me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below. If you're interested in the service and the session and you want like a more intimate vibe, click the link in my description down below. If not, head to my Instagram and on my TikTok if you want to go live talking about this. But I love you. You are loved. You're not alone. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.